If you ever wonder how this HUD was made in the video games, I'm gonna show you how to make it. But this is one of the ways, of course. There's many ways to make this, but I'm gonna show you mine. As you can see this, you can push this. There's a buttons in it. You can switch between them and changing the color. Whatever the preferences. I'm just gonna show you how. This is one of the many ways, of course. Alright, let's get to it. Okay, of course you need a design. Use your imagination. There's no worry about this. What I'm doing is make a box, because it's a skill slot HUD, so you can make a box, just standard box. Model it is easy using the Z modeler, and copy them, duplicate. I'm gonna put this skull, so keep that in mind, then that all the resources is from the ZBrush. There's no external additional requirement for external resources. All in ZBrush. It's by default. It's vanilla. So I'm putting the skull. I have the design is to put the skull on the left here, and all this VDM, they're available in the inside built-in ZBrush. There's no worry, just use your imagination to design it in real time. I don't think you need the special skills. All you need is the imagination. Just use it. I'm putting in some VDM brush here. There's a group in the Chisel Organic. There's lots of VDM brush here. Just as you can see here, I'm putting a texture on it, so it doesn't look too flat. Unless you want to make it a hard surface, you can polish them. And then I make another texture on the surface, like a leathery or whatever it is. I just don't want to be too flat, because it's really boring, unrealistic, not looking good. See this? And just same application with this skull, make it look better. By default it's too flat for me, so I just put another noise. Use the spray and brush alpha all inside the ZBrush. There's no additional alpha texture. I'm making the plate or the base or the buttons. just basic, basic, very basic. It's no very advanced here. It's gonna look good. Here in the button section, just it's a basic shape, nothing special. You can do it, everybody can do it. It's your game, no worries. It's your design. Another, I'm back to chisel organic and put some another VDM brush so it doesn't look too flat again. Just put it in there so it makes more interesting design. I don't know what it is, but I just like it. I just love it. So here is the button rest that you want to call button rest on for the button. Another texture, again, it's a built-in ZBrush built-in, all in there. By the way, I'm using ZBrush 2022.0.5. You can see on the top left on the corner here. See that? Just surface with more noise. Another noise. Just sculpt it. It's easy. You can do it. Everybody can do it. See, plug and play. I think ZBrush resources, it's good enough if you know how to do it. All you need is to experiment a lot with the brushes. Here I'm making the flame shape. Yeah, just like shape of flames for the icon of the button, so I can put it on top of the button. There's 3 buttons there. You can put any button you like. It's your design. This small bones is just for the 3rd button. Just put it there to indicate that which one is the buttons. Put in some bones there. Again, I don't have any design, and just do it like that. No plan at all. I just use my imagination, use the ZBrush resources. It's okay. I think it's powerful enough. Again, I'm appending the skull because I want to put a small skull like scattering them. Remove the button, just put it there. It's more real scary stuff. Oh yeah, by the way, a chains though, it's a low res actually. It's easy from a box. I think I'm gonna make a tutorial to make chains, low res chains. So this is the bat wing. I sculpt this, as you can see there. That's the middle bones, just bones. You can browse the bat anatomy. See that? That was Dynamesh. And I merged these two in the with the bones. See there? I merged them into one. Make shape, make a bat shape, make a bat wing shape. It's small, but it's nice. I love it. Just make a additional design. See, I put here some noise again. Don't put something if you know it's not a hard surface like a black armor. Don't forget to add the noise. It's gonna feel good, just like this. See, and again, it's VDMs, Zebra's VDMs, built in, no external resources. Anything you can make it. I made a dragon. I made a video of it. All ZBrush built in, no external resources. Pretty good dragon, I love it. There, another noise. Man, it looks good. Feels alive. Just save this, don't forget. So this is what I'm doing here. Exporting the high-res poly, so you can bake the mesh for the normal maps and other details in the Substance Painter. It actually takes a long time to export this because it's a high poly, like the total one, like 51, as you can see there on the top right. 51 million poly. I just love the details, so I don't care about the poly count. I duplicate the subtools to make the low res, so I rename it to the low to indicate that this is the low res, the one that I'm gonna use in the Substance Painter to make this texture. See, I'm just lowering the subdivision to make sure it's not too low, it's decent, not too high. That depends on your PC can handle it. And after this, when you find the right poly for the low res, don't forget to unwrap the UV. You can make You cannot make a 3D low res without the UV. It's just impossible. Maybe there's a purpose there, that UV thing. Alright, it's time to export this. And don't forget to use polygroup as mattes here. Turn it on. Otherwise, the substance painter, they're not gonna read anything. They don't know how to put it, where to put it, the materials. So they need something to identify where to put it, the textures on the mesh. That's how it works. Export this. It's a low res. We already done the high res. Here I am in the Adobe Substance Painter, just baking the low res into baking the high res for the detail. Every texture set, all those texture set lists, those are the polygroups that I was talking about. All those polygroups, when you export the mesh, they just appear there. That's how it works. Here's I'm doing the basic coloring, designing, just the best color. You can find the color harmony, just Google it. You don't know, it's gonna help a lot. I learned a lot about color harmony. Just Google it. There are good, lots of websites providing it. Oh, these buttons. Just want to make a contrast for those buttons, so they do not have the same colors to the background. The plate. It's so done. Sometimes I get lost when I'm picking a color. Maybe I'm not good at it. Still learning this color harmony. Always stuck when I'm picking a color. Here's the trick is, I don't paint with the brush. I just use the masking. And this is the mask editor. Really powerful. They give you the information from the baked mesh, so you can use the cavity, the edges, color for edges, color for cavity without affecting the edges without affecting the cavity. It's very cool. How about some brushing on the beds? because the edge areas of the wings, they have a thin on the bottom. And again, all of those texture sets, they are using the masking, the mask editor. There's a lot of tutorial on YouTube about how to make this mask really powerful. And I mixed it with the dirt mask. It's a nice, I love the color. Very dark. Very dark. It's like, reminds me of Diablo games. See that? I keep coming back to the base color. Sometimes I'm just not satisfied with the result. I always stuck on the color. Took me a while in the substance painter. Keep coming back to the base color. Don't forget the shadow. Do not kill the dark color. Always put something dark in it to make it alive. In real time, it took me about 3 hours. I spent a lot on the colors. That's embarrassing, actually. But I love it. You need to love your work. You need to love your design. Because I learned a lot from Bob Ross. It's your word. It's your word. You can do whatever you want with it. At this point, I think my PC is getting heavier. So much masking in it. I'm using the AMD 5700G, yeah, Ryzen 7. Okay, I'm in Blender to render it. to render this. And don't forget, of course, you need to export the texture. This texture is easy. Lots of tutorial out there how to export from Substance into Blender. Here I'm just setting up the lights. I combined these lights with the HDR, Blender HDRI, I don't know what to call it. It's there. Sometimes I just need to keep more light, just like photography. When you're in Photoshop, it's outside, but sometimes you need still the additional lights. That's how I learn it. Learn from everything, from everywhere. Here I am, putting the texture, no extra step here, just standard import, principal BSDF, using the node wrangler, standard input. There's no crazy nodes, no crazy railworks and nodes here, just standard. Now setting up the camera, ready to render. Make sure to cover it all the screen. To give you the general idea what's happening here, what I'm about to do, I rendered separate images here. The base, multiple colors, separate buttons rendered, 3 of them. I use this node, just plug in to the emission, so those buttons for active buttons could light up. This is default buttons. This is a general idea of what's happening with this HUD. I'll show you how it works. Okay, now I'm finished with the creation. Let's put this. I'm gonna show you how. Okay, I'm gonna widget. Open up the widget. And I've made this panel, just drag from here, from the list, like we can type this panel, and just grid panel and canvas panel. I use the canvas panel, just drag right here. See, it's gonna resize for the screen size. This is your screen size. This is your screen border right here. I rendered 3 of these, like the images. It's going to switch when I push this button. As you can see here, I've put one on top of another based on their status. So this is the default status. When I click this, I'm gonna hide this and then show this one. That's how it works. let's see. Oh, this, turn off the grid. Yes, put it on top here. Every time I click this one is going to disappear. I'm gonna hide this and I'll show this. Okay, and when this one is active, say I wanna click this one, I'm just gonna hide this and make this one the default back to visible. But first of all, when you click this button, go down here, it's going to be on the click events. So you make that events, it's gonna take you to the graph, just like here, on clicked button 1. Do it the same with the active. I name it active because I need to activate this. When I click this, you show it, it's gonna show this and make it visible and hide this. Okay, the button 1 right here, I'm gonna explain you this. This is for the button 1, activating button 1 on click. Make a note to hide the first button, the default. That means this one is going to be hidden. It's going to execute in the chain. It's going to hide this, the default one, and hide the active button 2 and 3. Button 2 is right here, and this is number 3. See? Just to make sure they're all hidden, because I wanna make this one visible, not this one, to avoid that. So I'm just to make sure they're all hidden. And then next to this chain, make the button 1 active. Which one is that? That will be this one. Make it active, and again making sure the default button 2 and 3, that means this one, number 2 and number 3, need to activate this. See, make it visible for both of them. So this is how it's gonna look. Click number 1, it's active. Turn off, it's off. See, it's hidden. Hide that one, the default one is going to execute. Next to the chains, hide the active one just to make sure it's 2 active. They don't turn or they don't visible. And next to it, activate, make it the active, this one is visible. And go to the next chain, make it the button number 2 here, the default one is visible. Because if you don't do this, when I click this one or this one and going back here, this default one is going to disappear. That's why we make sure that button 1 and button 3 are visible while this one active, because we want to make sure that we can switch between them. See, so they don't disappear, so they don't gone like hide. Okay, now deactivating the button 1 like this. See, that's active. Deactivate, return to default mode. all you need to do is remove the active one, this active. When I clicked it, back to the designer again for the this one, the active one, unclicked. It's going to execute the event. Hide that one, hide this. It's going to bring back the default. See, hide the active, hide the rest of the active. I mean the button 2 and button 3 active. Hide them both next to the chains. Makes the first one visible. Bring it back. Bring it back. Bring it to visible one next to the chains. Bring back all of them just to make sure they are back. Okay. Now I'm going to show you what happened if I don't put this in a chain. Right? What's this? If I click this one, I click this one, back to one, it's gone. It's not good. But I turn it off, it's go back. See, I want to switch between this and this without turning it off, like this. Boom. There. When it's active, going back to this one, I can't back to this one. That's not normal. Well, at least if you have preference, another preference, like disable this one, this two, while this one is active, that's your preference. Okay, escape. Let's see what happened when I put this in the chain. There, compile, hit play, turn it on, go back here, see, that's normal, that's switching. If I click the third one, see, it's gone, because the third one is not in the chains of this button one. Now hit stop, get this back inside, boom, connected and saved. Hit play, hit this button, switch between these two, it's working. Switch between these two, it's working. Okay, this is the same concept, the same system. When you click button to hide the default one, hide all the active number 1 and number 3, because we are clicking the button 2, they both need to be hide them just to make sure that they are gone, so there are no mistakes here, and make it visible for the button 2, of course, because we are clicking this button 2, it need visible, the active, make it visible, don't hide them, and make the rest of the default buttons visible. See, when I click this, they both visible. I just make sure the active of the first button and third button, they don't appear. That would be weird, because we are activating this one. Okay, next to the button 3, it's the same concept. Just hide the default when you click the third button, hide the first one and 2, because we are on the unclicked button 3 event. make the third one active, because that's what I clicked it on the button 3, and make the visibility for the button 1 and the second one, just to make sure that they are appeared. Okay, it's the same one with the activating button 3. Go for this, just hide the active, because it's deactivating at the third one when it's a hidden and next to the chain. Hide, make sure this is just hide all active, means right here, over here, and here. Just make sure that they are gone. Just make sure it avoiding the glitches. Make it visible. The default 1, 2, 3. All these chains show default buttons when deactivating. Make sure all of this 3 back to this default state. Just like this, show default buttons when I'm deactivating a button number 2. Show this one when I deactivating button 1. Make them appear just to make sure. Make the first one, second, the third one, the default, they are active. I mean, they are visible, while I hide the active for all of them to make sure they are hidden. Alright, thank you for watching. I hope this video helped. Of course, this is one of those many ways to make this HUD. I'm just showing you one of mine. This is what I prefer. Maybe I prefer the 3D real mesh. Just put it in front of your camera. You can do that. No problem. It works. Always works. Thanks for watching, everyone.